Olympic gold medalist, and now you're kind of starting to dive into the TV world a bit more. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so I mean, I started my career as an athlete, a figure skater, so young, skating at 15 years old at the Winter Olympics and winning my gold medal there. I really had to figure out what was next, for my next phase, next chapter, if you will, and second career. So it definitely propelled me to figure that out quickly. So from 15 on, I started professionally skating and really fell into the entertainment world, if you will, by doing that and started hosting and getting into broadcast. And then, oh goodness, now 12 years ago, I've started commentating. And that's my day job with Johnny Weir as an analyst for NBC for the Olympics. And that has taken us so many places outside of figure skating as well. So now hosting a wedding show seems very appropriate since my career just sort of is always twisting and turning.
Yes, I was about to ask you about that. Wedding Talk is coming out very soon. Can you give us a little rundown of the show and what people can expect?
Yeah, it was just such the perfect fit for me when I got the call. I thought, oh my goodness, I'm a hopeless romantic. I loved planning my own wedding. And I still now keep talking about it because I tell my husband we have to do vow renewals or something now that I've hosted the show and have learned all of these little tips and tricks that I want to add into it. But it's such an amazing show because it's for so many people. Obviously, couples that are about to get married, this is the show for them. You are able to get all the advice from two incredible wedding event planners, Jose Rolón and Jove Meyer. And I pick their brains constantly throughout the episodes of what's trending, what's hot, what's not, tips, and so much inspiration. But also, if you just love event planning, you love events and parties and celebrations, this is a great show for you. Or if you're like me, who's just a hopeless romantic and love, we touch on everything from the dress to the makeup to the smallest detail of a wedding to the theme of a wedding to all different types of weddings. So I think that's what's great too. This is not just, traditional wedding, here's a wedding video. First off, these are wedding films. I was blown away. I felt like I was watching mini movies when I sat down in my chair and started hosting this show. And it's just visually spectacular, but also it's the emotional component that I love so much. So you get to know these couples, you get to find out what drives them to put together their special day in the way that they did. And there's so many unique weddings. So it's not just glitzy glam weddings. We get a few of those. We get the destination weddings, but we get the backyard weddings. We get the isolated weddings where couples are getting off a helicopter and it's just them getting married on a glacier or a volcano's erupting behind them, or, just really unique things you never, ever would think of.
It's definitely one of those feel-good shows that we just need more of.
It really is. It's so nice. And that's why I loved, getting this opportunity because, I do live sports and the Olympics and it's stressful. And this is just such a nice departure from the crazy world. And we just get to sit back and meet real, relatable, beautiful couples and go on this journey of the best. Who doesn't love love? Who doesn't love a party?
You mentioned that you loved planning your wedding. What are some of your favorite details that you remember from your wedding?
Well, I think what I loved most was, you still look back on that day as this most special day of your life and your partner's life. And I wanted to make sure that everyone that we invited, all my friends, all my family, all those special people in my life really got a peek into what me and my husband's love for each other is like. And all those unique, special, personalized touches were so important to me. And I think that's also what this show does really well, is it will give you so many ideas of, I could add that in. And it's sweet, it costs nothing, and it's a great idea. So, looking back on my wedding, I wouldn't change it for the world, but this show definitely has given me a lot of help for my next party planning event.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to ask also on the flip side, after seeing all of these different weddings, is there anything that you would have not necessarily changed about yours, but kind of added in as something extra?
I'm sure there's definitely times when I was watching where I was like, I would have loved to do that, or that would have been so much fun to add. But I think the hardest part is, and that's what I love, because each episode is themed. So it will take you, like I said, we might be doing backyard weddings that day, or we might be going on a destination wedding, but it makes you realize there's so many different forms to getting married, and all of them are so special. So I just always walk away and think, okay, Tara, you got married once. You can't have all of these weddings. You can't have all of these special ideas. Do you want your family and friends there, or do you want to be, on top of a glacier? All of them are amazing. So I guess I get to live it through the TV show.
You did mention how you were super involved in sports commentating in the sports broadcast world, and this is just a whole new ballpark. What has been the hardest transition for you?
At this point, so many years in, it doesn't really feel like a transition anymore, because probably 20 years ago is when the real transition happened, where I stepped out of the sports world and the skating world and really stepped into the broadcast and hosting and entertainment world. And I just remember thinking like, oh boy, I'm just going to have to wing this, because I don't know what to expect. I'll take some of the experience of being a performer, but that's all I have to my resume. So it took, years and years, 20 years of being in the business to feel as comfortable as I do now. And I'm also grateful that, I work with Johnny Weir as my partner in crime for all things skating and Olympics. And we're so lucky that we've been able to branch out inside of the Olympics and NBC Sports. And we've covered the Super Bowl. We go to the Kentucky Derby, the dog show. We now cover the Summer Olympics and do the closing ceremony. So we really got to, dip our toes in different waters, if you will.
What has been your favorite event that you've covered so far?
Oh, that's so hard to say, but the Olympics is always going to be a special event for me. No matter how many times I go back, and I've been to many Olympics, I still get chills. I still get goosebumps when I see the Olympic rings or hear the music or watch a performance. So I love that never changes, and I hope it doesn't.
What's next for you? Are you working on any new projects coming up, or just the release of Wedding Talk?
So the release of Wedding Talk right now, I was so excited that it comes out tomorrow, October 13th, and it's on Crackle, or you can also get it on Chicken Soup for the Soul. So you just download those apps to your TV and it's free, which is exciting. But I also have started working with my husband. He's a director, and we formed a production company. And last year we came out with a 4-part series for Peacock called Meddling that we worked on together, which was our first project, which is very exciting. So we have some other things that we're working on now there. And then of course, skating season starts in 2 weeks. So I fly off to meet Johnny, and we start the season for NBC. So that's pretty much what's on my plate for the time being.